Today we are going to discuss about availability check. So what is availability check? So availability check is nothing but checking the available goods or stock in the plant to confirm into the sales order. So to perform availability check, first prerequisite is your transfer of requirement should be completed. Unless and until you complete the transfer of requirement, availability check cannot be performed. So after transfer of requirement is completed, system will go for checking in availability check in case stock is available into the plant. So how this availability check is being performed? So that is controlled by couple of configurations. So first configuration is maintaining schedule line category VO V6. So similar kind of thing we saw for transfer of requirement. So in under VO V6, under the schedule line category, we have this availability check option, right? So for transfer of requirement of assembly, this was mandatory. So similarly for availability check, for both requirement assembly and availability, these two check marks should be there. Okay, so these two check marks should be there, then and then only system can able to perform this availability check. Okay, so this is the first requisite in this schedule line category. Requirement assembly and availability, these both options should be checked. And second prerequisite is for your requirement class. We have seen this requirement class in the last session. So requirement class is maintained in sales and distribution, basic functions. Then your availability check and transfer of requirements, define requirement class. So for your requirement class, these both options should be checked, availability check and requirement transfer. So this is the part of your configuration. Now how requirement class is being determined into sales order, that we already seen. Okay, so these two options that should be checked, availability check and requirement transfer. Okay, so these are the two parameters that we need to maintain both in requirement class in schedule line category. Okay, so this is called as availability check configuration. Okay, so there is one more step for availability check in addition to this, what we can say, transfer of requirement. In your material master configuration, if you check your material master configuration, under this sales and sales general plan data, under this sales and plan data, this availability check or this field is also called as checking group. So it should be maintained. This availability check or checking group, it should be maintained. So it should not be blank. It should be maintained something daily individual requirement. Okay, so like that. So this is the third prerequisite. So first one is requirement assembly and availability check should be maintained in schedule line category. Second prerequisite is in requirement class, your availability check and requirement transfer should be maintained. And third one is in your material master, this availability check or this field is also called as checking group should be maintained. It should not be blank over here in material master. Okay, so these are the three prerequisites for performing the availability check. Okay, so these are the prerequisites. Now we are going to see from where system is able to check the stock. Okay, so which stock system is considering while doing the availability check. Okay, so for that purpose we have this T code OVZ9. So under this OVZ9 we can see combination of availability check and checking rule is maintained. Okay, so combination of availability check and checking rule is maintained. So this availability check we just saw in this material master, and this is some checking rule. So these are the combination that we maintain to perform the availability check. If we go into detail into this, so we can see here a couple of indicators, right? So what does it will do? So when system will perform availability check, so which stock it should consider to confirm into the sales order. So now if you see for this combination of availability check and this checking rule 01, stock from which sections should be considered to confirm into sales order. Stock from which section should be considered to confirm into sales order. So first one is include safety stock. So what is this safety stock? So in case of your emergency situation, you maintain some safety stock into the plant, right? So when we were discussing about it, material master, at that time we saw this concept of include safety stock. So this availability check and checking rule combination is informing system that while confirming the quantity into sales order, you consider stock from include safety stock. So safety stock is also considered. Then next one is stock in transfer, right? So what is stock in transfer? So stock in transfer is nothing but you have purchased some goods from your vendor and which is in transit. For example, if you book a car, okay, and if you go to dealer, car is not available in that dealer's showroom, right? But you book the car, right? Do you see any car, physical car in that dealer's showroom? No, you cannot see that any physical stock available. But when you book this car, so this dealer, what he will do, he will place order to company and he will give you some confirmed date. On this date your car or your bike will be delivered. So that is called as stock in transfer, right? So stock in transfer means you book the order but stock is not available, but dealer is confirming you that on this particular date you will get your car or bike delivered. So that is called as stock in transfer, right? So this is stock in transfer. Next is include quality inspection stock. So in plant, some stock is being kept as quality inspection, right? So those materials which we are getting as a part of return due to some quality issues, so we keep their stock as quality inspection stock. After doing some work around on this stock or after repairing that stock, we can say this stock is now we can sell to customer again. So what are the quality defects are there that has been overcome, and that stock is now is considered as now good stock to deliver the material. Okay, so that include quality inspection stock is also included. Include blocked stock. So what is blocked stock? Blocked stock means expired stock, right? So in case of pharmaceutical companies, we can see each and every product has its own expiry date, right? But in some cases, even though some products are expired, they can be used if they wanted to use it in emergency situation. So include block stock should be checked. So nowhere this include block stock is using because it's not a recommended practice. Then include restricted use stock. What is this restricted use stock? Let's say you manufacture particular material only 10 quantities per day, right? And out of 10 quantity you want to sell only 5 quantity, and 5 quantity you want to keep as restricted stock. That means that stock cannot be sold to anyone. But in case of emergency situation, if you check this, then system can perform the availability check from this restricted use stock as well. Okay, so these are the stocks from which system is checking for available material and confirming the quantity into sales order. Now here we can see inward or outward movement stock. So what is this include purchase order? So if we have raised the purchase order to our vendor and we wanted to consider that purchase order stock while confirming the quantity. So similar kind of thing we see here, stock in transfer. So stock in transfer is nothing but your include purchase order stock. So company will raise PO to vendor and vendor will deliver the material. So material is not delivered yet, but we can consider that purchase order stock into our availability check, because after few days we are going to get that stock and we can deliver the same to the customers. Similarly, we have include purchase requisition. So whatever purchase requisitions we have, so that we can consider that stock against that purchase requisitions as into our availability check. So these are the important parameters from inward and outward movement, include purchase stock and include purchase requisition. So rest of the parameters, they are not frequently used. Okay, so these parameters, they are not frequently used. Now next one is check without RLT. So at the time of delivery scheduling, we saw that delivery scheduling is performed based on the 5 parameters: pick pack time, loading time, replenishment lead time, transportation lead time, and transit time, right? So if you want to perform delivery without replenishment lead time, delivery scheduling without replenishment lead time, you can check this option, replenishment lead time, over here. Okay, so these are the couple of controls that we have for availability check. So this is about your availability check topic. So we have finished discussion about this availability check. Okay, so there are couple of controls only, those are important. Okay, and very what we can say, this topic is very important as far as sales order confirmation is concerned. So whenever you are able to see some confirmed quantity or confirmed stock into your sales order, so you can check which stock system is considering. Okay, so this is all about your availability check. So I'm stopping the recording.